What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of PTX.
In this episode, we're here to talk about plyometrics.
So before we get into anything else, we must know the basic information about plyometrics. So what exactly is plyometrics? So plyometrics are exercises, aerobic exercises um, that people do, mostly athletes, to increase their strength, their speed, their endurance. And plyometrics is where you push your muscle to the limits. It requires maximum effort of the muscles to be able to be able for the exercise to work. As the overload principle states that we must put more pressure than our muscles can take in order for it to increase in performance or anything else. So in this week's episode, we're gonna look into what effects does plyometrics have in sports, more specifically basketball. So before we do anything else, before we do any exercises, it is important to for us to do our warm-ups. Warm-ups will help us avoid any injuries that we might get in working out, especially in plyometrics, which requires us to do extraneous exercises to improve our performance. So our warm-up can consist of light jogs, especially to get our blood flowing. And next, we could follow that up with walking lunges, just to get our lower extremities heated up. We could also do heel flicks, and we could also do high knees or any sorts of those exercises. We could also do jumping jacks, of course, any normal exercises that you would do in your normal routine. Again, this would help us. This would help us avoid any injuries, especially for plyometrics. So now we're gonna talk about the actual effects of plyometrics in an athlete, especially in basketball. Again, like I said earlier, plyometrics can help the basketball player develop their strength of their base, increase their vertical jump, improve your speed, and especially the most important thing is to decelerate. With the fast pace of basketball, we must learn how to decelerate our body to avoid injury or tearing any muscles, ligaments, tendons, or anything like that. So one common mistake that an athlete can do is jumping into plyometrics fast without any warm-ups. That's a big no-no because that will cause injuries and may cause long-term injuries in the future. Your body might not be able to take the force and possibly um, ruin your career. So what you would do is we must progress slowly in order to avoid this injury. So we could start by performing jumps from both legs, and then we can advance to single leg jumps, and so we can develop and get used to the um, the force of the plyometrics. So the first exercise we could do is squat jumps. From the name itself, it's pretty straightforward. You start from lower into squat position, and then you forcefully extend your hip, knees, and ankles. Swing your arms up as high as you can as possible, and it is important. It's important to land softly. And again, we do this for specified amounts of repetition. We increase the intensity, and we can increase the intensity by adding weights or anything like that, like a weight vest or anything, an ankle vest or anything. The next exercise we can do is the drop jump. The drop jump. Now, the drop jump is an exercise where you start from an elevated surface and we land again softly. We land softly on the ground, and just like the squat exercises, we we forcefully extend the hip, knees, and joint to be able to produce force and jump. And then we land softly again. And then we keep that repetition going. Again, this could help the players. So last but not the least, we have the counter movement jump. Counter movement jump is almost the same as squat jumps, but in counter movement jump, the jumper starts in a stationary semi-squatted position, and then the jumper does not deploy any downward face or any movement. That's why it's called counter movement. And
Okay, so I hope you learned something for today, and we'll see you guys again next week.